Norway is one of the best countries to visit if you're a nature lover. And if you prefer cities, it will also leave you truly impressed. Here, there are numerous fjords, glaciers, beautiful waterfalls, and some of the world's most inhospitable areas. Generally, southern Norway is better known, the most touristic areas where the most famous fjords and main cities are located. But this country has many other places that amaze, both for their wild nature and their value to humanity. Stay with me to learn these curiosities about Norway. You will embark on a journey that will reveal what life is like in this country, surprising places, features of its culture, geography, and much more. Number 1. In Norway, you can experience 3 of the most fascinating natural phenomena: the Northern Lights, the Midnight Sun, and the Polar Night, since about 50% of its territory is above the Arctic Circle, totaling about 37,067 square miles. Number 2. The Northern Lights occur from late September to late March. The Lofoten Islands, Svalbard, or Tromsø are some of the best places in Norway to see them. When solar particles interact with the Earth's magnetic field, they are drawn towards the poles and come into contact with nitrogen and oxygen atoms. This process causes brief luminous flashes that can be observed from our planet. For Norwegians living in this part of the country, it is a normal occurrence. But if you experience it for the first time, it is something amazing. Number 3. The midnight sun occurs when the sun does not set on the horizon, providing 24 hours of light. In northern Norway, this happens approximately from late April to late August, but this period can vary. The closer you are to the North Pole, the longer the period in which the sun does not set. Number 4. The polar night also occurs in northern Norway from late November to mid-January. It means that the sun does not rise above the horizon for 24 hours, so it is always night during this time. The closer a place is to the North Pole, the longer and darker the night. Number 5. Therefore, the belief that all of Norway has 24 hours of darkness in winter and light in summer is wrong. In southern Norway and generally in the area below the Arctic Circle, neither the polar night nor the midnight sun occurs. For example, in Oslo, which is the Norwegian capital, in summer the sun sets around 11 at night and rises between 3 and 4 in the morning, which are many hours of light, although the sun still sets. Meanwhile, in Oslo's winter, the night can last up to 18 hours. Number 6. Trolls are creatures from Norse mythology that live in rocks or caves, of different sizes, but all with a monstrous appearance and dangerous to humans. The vast majority of Norwegians do not believe in trolls, elves, or fairies, which is not the case in another Nordic country, Iceland, where a significant part of Icelanders believe in them, or at least do not deny their existence. These beings are so important in Norway that there are dozens of places in the country related to them. Number 7. Norway has a Viking past. These warriors ruled what is now Norwegian territory from around 800 to 1066. One of the most famous Vikings is Eric the Red, born in what is now northern Norway, who founded the first European settlement in Greenland. His son, the Icelander Leif Erikson, is considered the first European to reach North America, where he established Finland, half a millennia before Christopher Columbus. Number 8. It is a parliamentary monarchy. The current monarch of Norway is King Harald V, and the queen consort is his wife, Sonja of Norway. Norway's independence from Sweden occurred in 1905, and Norwegian citizens chose to establish a monarchy as their form of government. This decision was believed to strengthen Norway's legitimacy among other European monarchies. First in line for the Norwegian crown is Håkon Magnus, son of Harald V, who is married to Princess Mette-Marit. Number 9. Due to Norway's magnificent natural landscapes, several famous and successful movies have been filmed in the country. This scene from No Time to Die is at Lake Langvann. The luxurious mansion in the movie Ex Machina is a Norwegian hotel. This scene from Dune 2021 is also filmed in Norway in the northwest of Njordfjord. This scene from the 2022 movie Troll is in the Jotunheim Mountains. Number 10. There are many famous Norwegians in addition to Eric the Red and other Vikings I will talk about later, but two stand out. One is Edvard Munch, painter and author of the famous work The Scream. Another is Roald Amundsen, the first man to reach the South Pole on December 14, 1911, and the first to reach the North Pole in a dirigible on May 12, 1926. Number 11. Norway has the world's second longest coastline, measuring 51,573 miles. It borders the Barents Sea to the north, Finland and Russia to the northeast, Sweden to the east, the Atlantic Ocean to the west, and the Skagerrak Strait and the North Sea to the south. Number 12. Norway's most famous and astonishing geological formations are the fjords. These are narrow and deep inlets of water surrounded by high cliffs, created by the erosion of glaciers that have melted over the millennia, leaving flooded valleys. Number 13. One of the most common ways to visit all these fjords are cruises, which can be trips from a single day to several weeks. Major coastal cities like Bergen, Ålesund, and Stavanger are often starting points or stops. Number 14. Sognefjord, or Sognefjord, is one of Norway's longest and deepest fjords, and one of the most amazing in the world, stretching 127 miles from the Atlantic Ocean coast to the small village of Skulden. Its waters reach depths of up to 4,291 feet, while the surrounding mountains rise more than 6,562 feet above sea level. Number 15. Lysefjord, or Lysefjord, is another of Norway's most well-known and visited fjords. Located in the Rogaland region in the southwest of the country, it is approximately 26 miles long, and its rock walls reach heights of up to 3,281 feet in some places. Number 16. Preikestolen is one of the most amazing places in Lysefjord. It is a rock formation 1,982 feet above the Lysefjord, offering beautiful panoramic views of the landscape. It measures approximately 82 by 82 feet and has almost vertical sides on 3 of its faces. Number 17. Geiranger Fjord, or Geiranger Fjord, is another one of the most famous fjords. Located in the Møre-og-Romsdal region, it is about 9.3 miles long and is surrounded by mountains up to 4,593 feet high. It is particularly known for its waterfalls, such as the Seven Sisters, which fall from a height of 820 feet, and the Suder, located directly opposite the Seven Sisters. In this area, there are historic farms on cliffs, some of which are accessible via hiking trails. Number 18. The rock formation known as Trolltunga, or Trollstung, is one of the places in Norway associated with trolls. It is about 3,609 feet above sea level and 2,297 feet above the Ringdalsvatnet Lake. To get here, you need to cover approximately 16.8 miles round trip, but as you can see from the views, the effort is worth it. Number 19. Another place associated with trolls is Trollstigen, also known as the Trolls Road, a winding mountain road with 11 tight turns, ascending to 2,795 feet. Along the ascent or descent, there are warning signs about the trolls that, according to legend, inhabit the area. Number 20. There's also Trollveggen, or the Troll Wall, considered the highest vertical cliff in Europe, with 3,609 feet from its base to its highest point. According to legend, the sharp rocks at the top are the trolls that were petrified when the sunlight hit them. Number 21. Flamsbana, or the Flam Line, is the most famous tourist train in Norway. It covers a 12.4-mile route between the town of Flam and the mountain station of Myrdal, allowing passengers to see valleys, waterfalls, mountains, and pass through several tunnels. Number 22. Another well-known train line is the Bergen Railway, or Bergensbanen, which connects Oslo and Bergen, crossing fjords, waterfalls, valleys, and the Hardangervidda National Park. the largest mountain plateau in northern Europe. It reaches a height of 4,009 feet at the Finns mountain pass, which is the highest train station in Norway. Number 23. The most famous and visited Norwegian national park is Jotunheim, meaning home of the giants, known for its beautiful mountainous landscape, which includes numerous peaks over 6,562 feet high. Here is Galdhøpiggen, the highest mountain in Norway, at 8,100 feet above sea level. Number 24. In southwest Norway is Jostedalsbreen, the largest glacier in continental Europe, covering about 188 square miles, forming part of the Jostedalsbreen National Park. Number 25. It can be said that the southernmost Norwegian territory is not in Europe, but at the South Pole in Antarctica. Norway has 3 dependent territories on this continent: Peter I Island, Bouvet Island, and Queen Maud Land. The latter is the largest territory, covering about 1.04 million square miles. Number 26. The Norwegian Arctic is the geographic region including the continental northern part of Norway, the Lofoten Islands, the Svalbard Archipelago, Jan Mayen Island, and the maritime area of the Barents Sea. It is the area with the wildest nature due to its inhospitable landscapes, animals, and natural phenomena. Number 27. Svalbard, an archipelago located in the Arctic Ocean, is the northernmost territory belonging to Norway. It is considered an Arctic desert, and its largest islands are Spitsbergen, Nordaustlandet, and Edgeøya. Snow is prevalent for much of the year, and temperatures can drop to as low as -4 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 28. The most populated place in Svalbard is Longyearbyen, home to about 2,000 people who work in tourism, coal mining, and research. It is estimated that in this settlement, there are more snowmobiles than residents. Prices are very high, especially for fresh food, and cats are prohibited as they could harm the native fauna. Number 29. It is often said that Longyearbyen is the northernmost inhabited settlement on the planet, but in reality, there is another that is even further north, Ny-Ålesund, also on Spitsbergen Island, on the Brøgger Peninsula. It is a small village with an annual population of 30 to 35 people, increasing to just over 100 in the summer. Owned by the Norwegian state-owned company Kings Bay, which provides services for research. Number 30. There is a belief that it is forbidden to die in Svalbard, but this is not true, as there are no laws that establish this. However, burial is prohibited because the ground is frozen and cannot undergo the natural process after death. In the event of an accident and death, the body is transported to mainland Norway. If a person is seriously injured or ill, they also have to leave the archipelago, as the hospital in Svalbard is basic and would not provide adequate treatment. For the same reason, giving birth is not allowed, and pregnant women must relocate weeks before the expected delivery date. Number 31. In Svalbard, there are various animal species, but the one that arouses the most interest is the polar bear. It is unknown how many individuals of this species there are, although it is estimated to be around 3,000 more than the human population of the archipelago. Due to the danger of these animals, carrying a firearm is mandatory when leaving a settlement, and there is a protocol for encounters with them, which includes trying to scare them off before injuring them and calling the governor of Svalbard. It is prohibited to advertise tours to see polar bears in Svalbard, but by visiting the islands or engaging in other activities such as whale watching, it is possible to see them, with some luck. Number 32. Walruses also inhabit Svalbard and can be seen resting on large ice floes as well as Arctic foxes, Svalbard reindeer, and various species of seals. In the sea, one can find belugas, narwhals, humpback whales, orcas, common fin whales, minke whales, and the largest animal that has ever lived on Earth, the blue whale. Number 33. The most striking building in Svalbard, due to its location, significance, and appearance, is the Global Seed Vault, located near Longyearbyen. Its purpose is to function as a seed bank protecting crop seeds from all over the world in case of any type of catastrophe. Number 34. One activity you can do in Svalbard if you like animals and adventure is dog sledding. Near Longyearbyen, there are farms specialized in the care and breeding of these dogs that offer tours of the area. Number 35. In the northern continental part of Norway live the Sami, the indigenous people of the Arctic regions of Lapland, residing in Norway, Sweden, Finland, and the Kola Peninsula in Russia. This people have a rich cultural heritage with their own language, traditional clothing, and customs. Traditionally, they have been semi-nomadic, depending on hunting, fishing, and reindeer herding. Number 36. The reindeer is a species native to the Arctic regions, including Norway. They are well adapted to the harsh Arctic climate, with thick fur, large hooves for traversing snow, and an excellent sense of smell to find food. In Norway, you can distinguish between wild, semi-domesticated, and domesticated reindeer. The wild ones have no owner and are found particularly in the southern half of Norway. The semi-domesticated are herded by the Sami, who have traditionally used them for meat, hides, and transportation. In April, the migration of semi-domesticated reindeer occurs from inland areas of the country where winter pastures are located to the northern coast where summer pastures are. Sami families follow the reindeer in their migration to protect their herds, and travelers can join and live with a family for a few days. Finally, there are domesticated reindeer, which usually live on Sami reindeer farms, a place that can be visited to feed the reindeer or take a reindeer sled ride. Number 37. North Cape, or Nordkapp, is an extraordinary cliff located on the island of Magarea in the northernmost part of mainland Norway, also known as the northernmost point of Europe, although technically Cape Nivskeljorden is even further north. Number 38. A much more accessible archipelago than Svalbard are the Lofoten Islands in northern mainland Norway, above the Arctic Circle, featuring large mountains, fjords, beaches, and beautiful fishing villages. These islands have a milder climate than other regions at the same latitude, thanks to the Gulf Stream, with relatively warm winters and cool summers. Winter temperatures range between 28 and 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and summers between 54 and 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 39. The most famous and one of the most picturesque villages in Lofoten is Rhine, on the island of Muskenesøya, characterized by its landscape of mountains, crystal-clear waters, and red houses. It is a fishing settlement, especially for cod, and a very touristy place to see the northern lights. Number 40. Henningsvær is another fishing village in the Lofoten Islands, also known as the Venice of Lofoten. Here, Henningsvær Idrettslag Stadion stands out, one of the most remote and visually striking football fields, surrounded by mountains, the sea, and cod drying racks. Number 41. The red houses in these villages are traditional fishermen's cabins, called rorbu, many of which have been converted into accommodations for tourists. They could be painted red, yellow, or white. Red was the cheapest, made with okra and cod oil, and the most expensive was white, requiring the mineral zinc. Number 42. A lesser-known village in the Lofoten Islands is A, or A i Lofoten, to differentiate it from other Norwegian villages with the same name. The name A derives from the Old Norse word A, meaning small river or stream. Until the 1990s, it was a small fishing village specializing in dried fish, but since then, tourism has become the main economic activity. Number 43. In the Lofoten Islands, some of the country's most beautiful beaches are found, such as Kalvika on Muskenesøya Island, Skagsand, with its curious designs in the sand, and Hokland with clear waters and popular among surfers. At all of these, you can observe the northern lights in winter and experience the midnight sun in summer. Number 44. The Rost Reef off the coast of Rost Island in the Lofoten Islands is the world's largest cold-water deep-sea coral reef, covering about 46 square miles. Number 45. For adrenaline enthusiasts, there's Kjerkvolten on Mount Kjerag, a large rock wedged between two vertical walls about 3,228 feet high. Some daring travelers climb onto the rock for a photo and to take in the scenery. While no calamities are known, caution is necessary if you dare to try. Number 46. For bird lovers, there's a special place in Norway, Rund Island, especially famous for its puffin colony attracting thousands of visitors each year between April and August. Norway is home to 30% of the Atlantic puffins, the smallest species. They are monogamous birds spending autumn and summer at sea and returning to the coast for mating season, typically nesting on high points of cliffs. Number 47. Steggestein is one of Norway's most exceptional viewpoints, offering panoramic views of the Arlens Fjord. It's about 30 meters long and constructed with a structure of steel, laminated pine, and glass, designed to minimally impact the landscape. Number 48. The most famous waterfalls in Norway are the Voringsfossen Falls, which have a drop of 597 feet and two separate streams. Another, voted one of the world's most beautiful waterfalls, is Langfossen, originating at an altitude of 2,007 feet, fed by river and lake water, passing under a bridge, creating an impressive sight. Number 49. The Saltstraumen Maelstrom near the town of Bodo is the world's strongest tidal current. It occurs every 6 hours during the change between high and low tides, as huge volumes of water are forced through the 1.86-mile-long and 492-foot-wide Saltstraumen Strait. The currents generate a series of large whirlpools that can be up to 33 feet in diameter and 16 feet deep. Number 50. One of the country's most famous lakes is Lavatnet, a glacial lake 6.8 miles long with bluish-green waters, a result of the mix of glacial meltwater with rock particles. In 1905 and 1936, two major natural disasters occurred: landslides causing mega tsunamis, destroying surrounding villages and claiming the lives of dozens of people. Number 51. Less known but equally beautiful is Little Verivatnet Lake, located in Rago National Park in northern Norway, with a tranquil setting surrounded by forests. Due to its remote location, it's important to be prepared and bring adequate supplies before visiting the area. Number 52. Oslo is the capital and largest city of Norway, situated on the Oslo Fjord in the southeastern part of the country. It is one of the fastest-growing capitals in Europe, but it is also known for its commitment to sustainability and ecological living, being one of the world's most sustainable cities. Key places to visit in Oslo include Akershus Fortress, the Munch Museum, the Nobel Peace Center, Frogner Park, and the Royal Palace of Oslo, the official residence of Norwegian monarchs. Number 53. Bergen, Norway's second-largest city on the southwest coast, serves as a gateway to the fjords. It was one of the inspirations for the magical kingdom of Arendelle in Disney's Frozen, and is known as the City of the Seven Mountains, because it is surrounded by 7 prominent mountains, including Fløyen, Ulriken, and Løvstakken. The Flebanen funicular offers a ride to the top of Mount Fløyen for views of the city. Number 54. Ålesund, a coastal city in western Norway, is renowned for its Art Nouveau architectural style, waterfront promenade, and proximity to the famous Geiranger Fjord and Hjorund Fjord. After a devastating fire in 1904, the city was almost completely destroyed, but rebuilt with international aid, particularly from Germany. The new buildings were constructed in Art Nouveau style, characterized by ornate decorations, turrets, and spires. Number 55. Tromsø, the largest city in northern Norway, is known as the gateway to the Arctic, another place in the country where one can experience the northern lights, midnight sun, and polar night. It is home to the world's northernmost university, and botanical garden. Popular activities in Tromsø include dog sledding, whale watching, and visiting nearby Sami reindeer farms. Number 56. Trondheim, Norway's third largest city, is located in the central part of the country and was established by the Viking king Olav Tryggvason in 997. It was the nation's first capital and the coronation site for the Norwegian kings during the Viking Age and the Middle Ages. Nidaros Cathedral, one of the city's most iconic landmarks, was built over the burial site of King Olav II, Saint Olav, who became the patron saint of Norway. Number 57. The Lærdal Tunnel, northwest of Bergen, is the world's longest road tunnel, spanning 15.2 miles. To prevent drivers from falling asleep and to maintain attention, 3 caverns were created with yellow and blue lighting, simulating a sunrise. Norway has about 900 tunnels, connecting much of the country, traversing mountains, including underwater tunnels that link remote islands. Number 58. Norway is a country with high social and economic equality. It has one of the world's lowest levels of income inequality, free education, healthcare, and other social services. Norwegians have a sense of equality, believing no one is above another, and that collaborating with the community is necessary to reap its benefits. Number 59. The high social equality in Norway also influences personal relationships between men and women. Women can have different personality traits, being introverted or extroverted, like people from all countries. But one thing distinguishes them. They tend to be very independent and mentally strong. Girls learn from a young age that they are equal to boys and are expected to have a high education alongside a good job to be self-reliant. Number 60. This great equality between men and women, the independence and freedom of Norwegian women, existed even in the Viking era. Premarital relationships were common, and a woman could even test a man before marrying him, and if she did not like him, she was not obliged to marry him. Families organized marriages, often with much older men, but the women had the final say compared to other parts of medieval Europe. Viking women had more rights. They could divorce and inherit land. Generally, they were responsible for homes, farms, and animals when men were away, but they could also participate in battles after long sea voyages. Number 61. One of the most famous Vikings is the legendary Lagertha, wife of the mythical Viking Ragnar Lodbrok. There is no consensus on whether Ragnar existed, although several historical sources mention him, and it is known that those considered his sons are historical figures. There is also debate about whether Lagertha was a mythical character or a real person whose life was glorified. Another Viking who did exist is Sigrid the Haughty, a Swedish queen known for refusing to follow others' norms. Married to Eric the Victorious, King of Sweden, at the end of the 10th century. After her husband's death, she was courted by Harald Grenske of Norway and Visvold of Kievan Rus, but decided they only wanted her lands and wealth. The most adventurous was the Icelandic Viking Freydis Eriksdottir, daughter of the Norwegian Eric the Red and sister of Leif Erikson. Following her brother's and other Vikings' expedition to North America, Freydis died to make another journey to gain prestige and wealth, reaching Vinland around the year 1000, shortly after her brother. Number 62. The concept of dugnad in Norwegian culture means a collective and voluntary effort, where community members come together to work on a task or project. These are days when people might clean a local park, renovate a community building, or organize a fundraising event for schools or local organizations. Number 63. The principle of almansretten reflects Norwegians' connection with nature. It means you can camp in uncultivated areas at a minimum distance of 492 feet from the nearest cabin or house, and for a maximum of 2 days. If you want to stay longer, you need permission from the landowner. Number 64. Norwegians tend to maintain a respectful distance from others during social interactions, meaning they have a large personal space. This is exemplified by the unwritten law of the bus stop. When waiting at a bus stop, Norwegians tend to stand a considerable distance apart, even if there is plenty of space available. Similarly, Norwegians may avoid sitting directly next to someone on public transport if other seats are available. Choosing a more distant seat is a way of respecting others' personal space. This contrasts with the more physical contact and proximity found in Southern European, Latin American, or Asian countries. Number 65. Ice bathing and saunas are common practices in Norway as part of the culture of connecting with nature. Ice bathing involves immersing oneself in the very cold waters of seas, lakes, or rivers, believed to improve the immune system and circulation. Another common activity is the sauna, which can be done separately or following an ice bath. Saunas are high-temperature and high-humidity rooms where people sit, sweat, and relax as a way to detoxify and relieve muscle tension. Number 66. Each year, Norway ranks among the top countries in the World Happiness Report, which measures factors related to education, family, social problems, health, and work, among others. You might wonder why Norwegians are happy given the cold climate and limited sunlight in winter. The primary reason is Norway's high Human Development Index, an indicator measuring life expectancy, education level, and economic income. Life expectancy is among the highest in the world, with the average Norwegian expected to live about 83 years. Literacy rates are high. Nearly all Norwegians can read and write, and over 40% of the population completes university education, which is free. Likewise, Norwegians have some of the highest incomes in the world, with an average of about $65,000 annually per person. Number 67. There are several reasons why Norway is a wealthy country, and Norwegians have high salaries. They have a strong fishing industry and renewable energies, but the main factor is that Norway is a significant global supplier of oil and natural gas, and the leading European producer with reserves in the North Sea, the Norwegian Sea, and the Barents Sea. In fact, Equinor, the largest Norwegian oil company, is owned by the Norwegian state. Other factors contributing to Norwegians enjoying high incomes include a consistently low unemployment rate and high productivity per person. Also, Norway's population is relatively low, not reaching 6 million, meaning the country's wealth is distributed among fewer people. Number 68. The most exceptional Norwegian oil platform is Troll A, located in the North Sea and operated by Equinor. It is one of the tallest and heaviest structures ever moved by humans, with a total height of 1,549 feet, 994 of which are submerged under the sea. Number 69. Another product in which Norway is a leader is salmon. You may have eaten it in sushi or another recipe, as Norway is the world's largest producer, with an astonishing 50% of global production. If you visit and travel among the fjords, you might see the sea cages used for farming. The species raised in Norway is the Atlantic salmon, or common salmon. Generally, these fish grow in freshwater pools, and when they weigh about 1.1 pounds, they are moved to large floating cages, usually located in the fjords of the Norwegian west coast. When they weigh between 8.8 and 13.2 pounds, they are ready to leave the cages and continue the process until consumption. Number 70. Norway is also a world leader in the use and sale of electric vehicles. It has the highest number of electric cars per capita. Almost all new cars sold are electric, and in a few years it is expected that 100% of sales will be electric. This has been achieved partly through government efforts, with free or lower-priced tolls and parking, and tax exemptions for zero-emission vehicles. However, some of these benefits are being gradually withdrawn to reduce traffic or promote cycling. Most Norwegians charge their cars at home, but there are thousands of public chargers throughout the country, even above the Arctic Circle. Number 71. Many of the ferries and boats used in Norway are also electric or hybrid. In 2015, the first fully electric ferry, the MF Ampere, began operating in the western fjords. Number 72. Traveling through Norway, reading and researching, I came across a contradiction. On the one hand, 95% of the energy produced in Norway is renewable. It comes from approximately 1,600 hydroelectric plants in the country, with the remainder coming from wind energy. Additionally, I've already mentioned the high sales of electric cars and policies to protect the environment. On the other hand, there is the large production of fossil fuels. Almost all of the oil and natural gas produced in Norway are exported, mainly to the United Kingdom and the European Union. The Norwegian government pension fund, which invests in companies worldwide, receives revenues largely from these exports. As you can see, this creates a kind of paradox. Norway invests in green energies and environmental protection, but to do so, it needs to produce oil and gas. In any case, this situation is not unknown to groups of Norwegians and the country's media, who would prefer to move away from oil. But, to be clear, the overall situation is positive, as Norway and Norwegians have clearly implemented measures to reduce pollution, and the fact that they are the leading country in the use of electric cars speaks for itself. In the medium or long term, with the diversification of the country's income, this situation could be resolved. Number 73. Whaling still exists in Norway. One of the three countries where this practice is still ongoing: Japan, Norway, and Iceland. Norway hunts the most. In Iceland, the practice is expected to end in 2024, but in Japan and Norway, there are no plans to do so. Whaling in Norway dates back to the Vikings on the coast of Tromsø, who invented methods to drive small cetaceans into the fjords. The species hunted is the minke whale, which can measure up to 18 feet. Norwegian authorities argue that it is a traditional practice and is carried out sustainably. Meanwhile, certain international organizations claim it is an unnecessary practice, as there is not a high demand, and the products derived from whales can be obtained in other ways. Additionally, some whale advocacy organizations explain that these animals remove carbon from the atmosphere, as their excrement stimulates the growth of phytoplankton, which absorb carbon dioxide and emit oxygen. Number 74. In Norway, there is a slow TV, a television genre, where events are broadcast in real time. An example is the 2009 program Bergensbanen Minute by Minute, which broadcasted the 7-hour train journey between Oslo and Bergen, attracting over 1 million viewers. Another recent one from 2020 is Svalbard Minute by Minute, which broadcasted an incredible 221 hours of the 9-day journey of the ship MS Spitsbergen around the island of Spitsbergen, commemorating the 100th anniversary of the Svalbard Treaty that granted Norway sovereignty over this archipelago. The most celebrated day by Norwegians is Constitution Day, every May 17th. Featuring large parades in the streets of major cities, the largest is in Oslo, where about 100,000 people gather, with a parade featuring music bands passing by the royal palace for the royal family to greet from the balcony. Number 76. The traditional Norwegian costume worn by both women and men on Constitution Day and other festivities is the bunad. Each region of Norway has its own style of bunad, but they are usually made of high-quality materials, like wool, linen, and silk, and adorned with embroidery, lace, and silver details. These costumes can be passed from generation to generation, considered valuable family heirlooms. Crafting a bunad can take a lot of time and effort, and handmade ones can be quite expensive. Number 77. Skiing as an activity is believed to be 9,000 to 10,000 years old, but the Norwegian Sand Norheim is considered the father of modern skiing, who introduced innovations to skis in the 19th century and popularized the sport in Norway. Number 78. Norway is the country with the most medals in the Winter Olympics. It is the nation with the most gold, silver, and bronze medals, 405 medals in a total of 24 games. Number 79. Alcohol consumption in Norway is permitted, but in regular stores, only beverages with an alcohol concentration of less than 4.7% can be purchased. For higher alcohol drinks, they must be bought at a state-owned supermarket. From Monday to Friday after 8 p.m., Saturdays after 6 p.m., and all day Sunday, alcohol can only be purchased in licensed bars and clubs, not in supermarkets. Number 80. Another Norwegian law is the mandatory use of season-appropriate tires in winter and summer. Sterilizing dogs is illegal. It's considered beneficial to owners but harmful to the animals. Certain dog breeds are banned, such as the Amstaff, American Pit Bull Terrier, Fila Brasileiro, Tosa Inu, or Czechoslovakian Wolf Dog. Bringing one of these dogs into the country could result in drastic measures. On Sundays, activities generating excessive noise, such as playing loud music, construction work, lawn mowing, or using noisy machinery, are not allowed. Number 81. In Norway, Norwegian is spoken, but about 90% of people can speak English, a very high figure, considering that in countries like Canada, considered an English-speaking nation, only 75% speak it. Number 82. Norwegians drink a lot of coffee, about 4 to 5 cups a day, possibly influenced by the cold climate, as other Nordic countries also have high consumption. Coffee is consumed in cafes for breakfast, after dinner, or as dessert. It's also common during workdays in fika, which means a coffee break. Number 83. About 70% of Norwegians consider themselves members of the Church of Norway, but only 2% of the country's population are practitioners who regularly attend church. 84. Air-dried skrei cod is essential in Norwegian culinary culture. They are dried outdoors on hjell, which are wooden racks. You'll see them especially in the Lofoten Islands, where there is a favorable climate, with dry air and relatively cold weather. This food has been common since sea voyages and trade. Klippfisk is also preserved in dried fish, but using salt, often also using cod. There's also rakfisk, which is fish fermented for 2 or 3 months, cut into fillets and served raw. Very common in Norway, although it might be a bit strong for foreigners. The longer it ferments, the stronger the smell and flavor. If you're trying it for the first time, it might be a good idea to start with just a little. Number 85. One of the oldest Nordic games is Viking chess, or Nefetafel, which was played before modern chess. Unlike modern chess, where both players have the same pieces and the goal is to checkmate the opponent's king, in Nefetafel, one player controls the king and his defenders, while the other player controls the attackers who try to capture the king. Number 86. In Norway, there is a native horse breed, the fjord horses, also known as fjording or fjordest, which have high endurance, strength, and a calm temperament, making them good for agriculture or riding. It's one of the world's oldest breeds, with bloodlines dating back about 4,000 years. I hope you enjoyed learning about this fascinating Nordic country, and that it has sparked your curiosity to learn more. Have a great day, and see you soon!